The laughing stock of FPL, that's what they call me. The laughing stock of FPL. And what have I gone and done this week? I've gone and proven them all right. I have gone and used the wildcard, and it has turned out to be an absolute disaster, like you knew it would. Like it had to be, because we don't get nice things in this game, not this season. We don't get nice things in this game that we love, which does not love us back. No, I thought, here we are, week after week, game week after game week. These players I have are letting me down. These players I have are leaving me in the mud, and I'm going to do something brave. I'm going to do something a little bit courageous, and I'm going to play my wild card 5 weeks early. I'm going to play my wild card. I'm going to go against what all those big name content creators say. I'm going to go against what all the big names are telling me to do. This is the only strategy, but it's not our fault. It's not. There's another way in this life. There's another way in this game, and it's to get the points before the big game week, to get the points before the big double, the last chance to attack the field. So I played the wild card. I played my most powerful chip, and I got rid of all of those failures week upon week, game week after game week, month upon month. They have been letting me down, so I got rid. I sent them packing, and what's happened now? Now they've all decided this is the week to perform. Of course, they've decided this is the game week to kick me when I'm down, to put me through the misery yet again. This game that we all love, this game we all love, which does not love us back. What have I ever done? What have I done to deserve this? All I do is my best. All I do is try and inject a bit of life into the game. I try and inject a bit of passion. I try and take away the algorithms, take away the machines, and inject a bit of soul back into the game. And for what? For what? The machines have won. Skynet has won. FPL is done. FPL is over. The FPL we all love is gone. And I love this game, and it does not love me back. And you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of my first marriage. And I used to love my first wife, and then one day the pain was too much. One day the misery was too much, and I had to say, enough's enough, pal. Enough's enough. Hit the bricks. There's more to life than this. There's more to life than constant misery, hoping for a glimmer of joy. And then I left her, and I moved on up in the world. And not to say she is like anything bad, it's just it was 2 kids, it didn't work out. We were like in our early 20s, it was too soon. But now I'm in my 40s, I am in my early 40s, and I'm here again, loving something that does not love me back. And why am I putting in this effort into this game? Why am I investing so much time? 20 hours this week, 20 hours, 40 hours perhaps, I'm not even sure. Let's work it out this week. There's 2.5 hours of videos I've put out for you talking about the wildcard, how it can work, how it can be the answer, talking about the game. But the preparation before that, the hours of reading, the hours of research to understand what I'm getting myself into, to understand where the game is going, to understand how to make this risky alternative strategy work. And then after that, there's the hours and hours and hours of responding to the comments. Yes, even the ones that say you are the laughing stock of FPL, and they are the minority. They are the minority. Most of the people that comment on my videos are absolutely wonderful. They make the game worthwhile. They are the best of Fantasy Premier League. Perhaps the only reason to make the game still worth playing in this abysmal era, in this abomination of a game it's become. And I've not even got into my team yet, and I will, but let's talk about football itself. Football is shite. Football is absolute shite nowadays. What are we like? We talk about the hours invested. It's like I woke up yesterday morning and my wild card was active, and I was happy. I was excited. I was alive with the anticipation of what the weekend could provide. And more fool me for thinking it will be anything other than abject misery yet again. This game we all love, which does not love us back. That ex-wife that you just want to forget about. The one where you thought the joy was going to come and it never did. And now you've moved on and it's better for both of you. Is this what I need to think about with FPL? I don't know. My mama didn't raise no quitter. But I'm thinking maybe the win is walking away. I don't know, but let's get into it. Let's get into what's brought me to this despondency. Let's get into what has brought me to this agony and part of it. The laughing stock of FPL, that's what they call me. The laughing stock of FPL, and it cuts to the bone. I have lost a finger, yet those words cut deeper. And the problem is, you put in this effort and you do it for free. People might think you make the money off these videos. It's nothing, pal. It's absolutely nothing. I could do a few hours at work and make more money than this. It's not worth it. And I'd probably enjoy work more. And that's a crazy thing to think. But that's the way the game is nowadays, this shite game of football. What even is it anymore? What even is it? I've watched 10 hours of football this weekend. I've been sat here, woke up yesterday morning, the deadline passed. I've got my new Wildcard team. We're gonna take on the world. This is the nightmare's comeback. The nightmare's gonna become a dream. And then what happened? I'm watching one crap game after another, one ball fest after another. I'm watching this aimless, tippy-tappy, pointless passing. All the same teams doing all the same moves and producing absolute shite. Football is a shite game as a spectacle. It's just not worth it. I'm watching it. I watched 10 hours of football yesterday. 10 hours. 10 p.m. it finished. And 10 a.m. I woke up yesterday morning. 10 a.m. I woke up excited about the Fantasy Premier League. Excited about what the wildcard would provide. And 12 hours later, as Newcastle defeat to Man City was confirmed, what did we have for that 12 hours? What did we have to show for our time, for our investment after all the research and the recording and the editing and the conversations through the week? I've probably put in a full-time hours on this game this week. Full-time hours on Fantasy Premier League, and what have I got to show for it? Misery. I'm back in the shed with the spiders, and I'm not happy. I am not happy at all. What a waste of time. What a waste of energy. What a waste of anything for what, this shit game where you might get one goal. Has anybody enjoyed the football today? As I'm recording, it's the second half of Arsenal. And I'm going to get into them in a second as well. This whole blasted game has driven me. It's driven me to the point of insanity. I'm sick. I'm sick. And all weekend. But this game, this football, what joy does it bring? What joy does football bring anymore? It's boring. That we had the season finale when Big Dan Burn-headed Newcastle ahead in that cup final. For me, football will never get any better than that day. Newcastle could go and win the quadruple and England could win the World Cup. And the high I would feel from those outcomes would not match that day when Big Dan Burn-headed that ball into the net, when Alexander Isak smashed that ball on the volley from the Murphy knockdown, and he stood on the advertising hoardings in Wembley Stadium. He stood with his arms stretched and basked in the adulation of the people he was about to betray. And that was the greatest day in football history. That was football season finale, for me at least. And where's it going to go? What's the point? What is the point? Sometimes in life you have to know when to walk away from the table. What is football going to provide for me now? I don't know. But we're not about football. We are not a football channel. We're a Fantasy Premier League channel. But the problem is this fantasy. It's like it's been written by George Martin. George R. Martin himself. And every weekend is the Red Wedding nowadays. Every weekend, your pal the Nightmare is stabbed in the gut. Every weekend his throat is slit by these betrayers that are meant to be on my side, by these betrayers that are meant to be there. Let's get into it now. We'll start with Crystal Palace. We will start with Dean Henderson and Daniel Munoz. They were my big hopes. They were my heroes last week on paper. Up against Burnley, the worst team around. And then they got, what was it, 1 point each? 3 points at most, perhaps, from Burnley, from playing Burnley. So I got rid. If you can't even keep a clean sheet against Burnley, it's time to go. But what's happened today? 25 bastard points, the pair of them. 25 bastard points from the pair of them. My entire team, my wildcard team, has only got about 28 points in total. With Bruno Fernandes still to come, yes, Bruno Fernandes still to play, but he doesn't even matter because everyone's got Bruno Fernandes. Everyone has the Portuguese points plunderer, so his points, they don't even matter. 28 points I'm on right now on a wild card. 28 points, 25 points from Henderson and Munoz this weekend. This game does not love us back. This game does not love me back at the very least. This game revels in my misery. This game revels in my... And now I look down, and do you know what I see? I see the recycling. The recycling. And that bag, it should be empty because it was recycling day on Friday. And do you know what happened? The council, they came up my street and they took my neighbour's recycling and they took my other neighbour's recycling and they took everyone down the whole bastard street's recycling and they left mine untouched. That is what this life is for me right now. They left mine untouched, and maybe it was a sign. Maybe it was a sign from the gods themselves. Come on, Nightmare. Now is not the week for recycling. Now is not the week to empty your squad, to empty your sacks. Now is not the week for the big turnover. But, you know, there's a word for people that read into these sorts of things that would take something like the recycling not being taken and apply it to their FPL team. There's a word, and it is delusional. There's another word, it is schizophrenic. And now I'm hearing the voices again. I'm hearing all those voices, and they're laughing. They're there. All weekend I've been getting it. Nightmare's off to the shed. Nightmare's off to the shed. He'll be ranting to the spiders. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Because at least the spiders care. At least the spiders are here for me in my darkest hours. Do you know who isn't here for me? Fantasy Premier League. No, maybe, you know, it's written by George R.R. Martin. Maybe the reason, the winds of winter and the song of summer, or the dawn of spring, or whatever the last book's called. Maybe the reason George R.R. Martin has not finished the Game of Thrones, the Song of Ice and Fire series is because he's trying to find a green arrow on Fantasy Premier League. Maybe he's trying to figure out the whole mess that Defcons have become, and that's taken up all his bastard time like it's taking up mine. This is not fun, this game anymore. This is not fun, this is pain. And like, it's so hard because you're putting so much effort. You're putting so much. Three players. Daniel Munoz, Dean penalty saving bastard Henderson, and Elliot Anderson. I didn't want to sell Anderson. I didn't want to sell him, and I did. I sold him for someone I thought would do really well. Morgan Rogers against Leeds United. He did nothing. Morgan Rogers, nothing. I mean, look at my team, my attack. It's absolute nonsense how powerful it is. Yes, it doesn't have Haaland, but it doesn't matter because a striker I got in to replace the North Force, he outscored Haaland. He got 7 points over Haaland, who got an extra bonus point tonight, 24 hours after the game finished. What is that about? Why can we not trust the numbers? Why is the game played in such a stupid way where some players have 30 minutes to get extra points and other players have 48 hours? It makes no sense. It is not what the game is meant to be about. It is not something that brings us joy. So my attack, I sold all of those DEFCON daddies. I sold Anderson, I've sold Garner, I've sold Declan Rice, and he's probably gone and got a bastard goal now as well. Who knows? I've come out during the second half because Jurriën Timber has finally got an attacking return. The week I've sold him this game, they say patience is rewarded, and you get 2-pointer after 2-pointer, 2-pointer after 2-pointer, maybe a 5-pointer, because even if you get a clean sheet, you're getting a booking, pal. And then you finally say, enough's enough. Enough's enough. I'm getting rid of him. And what happens? He gets the attacking return. Of course he does. He gets it. The week you sell him, Nick Trigger, my man Nick Trigger, he sold Virgil van Dijk 2 weeks ago. Game week 1, he had Virgil van Dijk through 6 months of absolute shite. And then Nick Trigger sells him, and what happens? 2 clean sheets, a goal and an assist in 2 game weeks. This game does not love us back. This game does not love us back. It maybe loves you, but it doesn't love me. And it's a pain, this game. You know, it's not just Jurriën Timber, although that would be bad enough. It's not just Jurriën Timber causing the pain. It's not just Elliot Anderson. It's not just Daniel Munoz and Dean Henderson. You look at the team I brought in. You look at my midfield, Bruno Fernandes. Well, his points don't really matter. But then I've got Cole Palmer. Let's talk about Cole, the goal. I finally went for him. I brought the Wildcard and I thought, I'm going to use 1 transfer. I have 2 transfers until double game week 33. I'm going to use 1 of them, and what I'm going to use that for is to bring in Cole, the goal on the wild card, and then I will sell him next week, a 1-week punt of one of the most explosive assets in FPL history, getting goals and points for fun. I'm going to bring him in against the worst team in the world. I'm going to get him in against a team that concede to everybody. The team everybody gets such huge points from. And what do I get from Cole Palmer? I get a clean sheet point after he subbed early because of Wesley Fofana. This game does not love us back. You can't rate this shit. You cannot rate it. Who else? Morgan Rogers against Leeds. Anonymous. You take a chance on the explosive assets, and the DEFCON daddies do you again. The DEFCON daddies, they've gone out for cigarettes. They've gone out for a pint of milk, and they're not coming home. They've found new people to hang around with. They've found new people to love because they don't love me back. I get them and they do not. And then I get rid and they do everything. This game does not love me back. This game does not love me back. And I can't remember if I've told you about the private messages, you fat, bald, cunt, you fat, bald, see you next Tuesday. That's what I get in my message for in return for the 20 hours of effort I've put into this game, in return for discussing the game. You fat, bald, cunt. I'm not saying the word. It's a violent word. I've said it on one FPL stream on Gary Beer's channel, and it was a day that I do not look back on with fondness. If I am honest with you, it was not a good day, and I'm not going to repeat it now. But that's what I'm getting, and for what? For what? For trying my best. For trying my best, a laughing stock of FPL. Who else? We're not even done. Igor Thiago. Brentford. Let's talk about Brentford, because we've talked about Daniel Munoz and Dean Henderson, but who we haven't talked about is who I replaced them with. Well, I had a great strategy. I'll bring in Gabriel. I'll keep Gabriel because Gabriel always does the business. Always, I'm sure. You probably know by now. I don't know the Arsenal score, but I'm sure it's not going to make me any joy. I'm sure it's not going to make me happy. But then who else? I brought in I kept Nordi Mukiele. I started Nordi Mukiele. He's off after 12 minutes with an injury. I brought in James Hill, but I'm going to bench James Hill this week. I'm going to bench him because it's West Ham away, because Jared Bowen is a dangerous player, because Big Tatty, the Tatty man, he is playing well, he is proving effective, so I'm going to bench James Hill this week. And it was the right call because he got the DEFCONs, but do you know why it wasn't the right call? Because West Ham, with almost 3 expected goals, somehow failed to score. What can you do? What can you do except get the decisions right and still get kicked in their teeth? This game Morgan Rogers, I started Morgan Rogers, and do you know what? Villa, they went and did nothing. Rogers did nothing, but Villa got the goal. But it doesn't matter, because by then, my fifth defender, Joe Rodon, he'd already got those defcons. And then, but Rodon, he's on my bench as well. Rodon and Hill on my bench, because I started Mookie early for 11 bastard minutes. And who was the other one? Well, he was my Daniel Munoz replacement. I thought, who has got the fixtures for the long term? Who has got the fixtures for the long term? Who I can rotate and focus my funds on the attack? I'm looking at Brentford. I'm looking at Christopher Arger. And I brought in Christopher Arger because he's been hitting the DEFCONs for fun. 3 weeks of DEFCONs on the bounce. This is the man. 4.4 million. This is the man. And I brought in Arger. And what happens? Coyote gets injured, not playing. We didn't know that. What then happens? Aaron Hickey gets injured, and then Arger is moved to right back, away from the DEFCONs, away, and I can't believe I'm talking about these DEFCONs, because everybody else gets them but me. And then Arger's potential was gone. 1 point for Christopher Arger, and he was the one that I was unsure about, because I had another man in mind. I had Ezri Konsa in mind. And do you know why I didn't go for him? Because Konsa's only got 2 DEFCONs all season, because Konsa has 0 attacking returns. Well, you know where this story's going from yesterday. Ezri Konsa, he got those DEFCONs. He got the assist. This game does not love me back. This game. And of course, Dean Henderson, who did I replace him with? I replaced him with Corvin Kelleher. And, you know, it's fine. It's fine, your goalkeeper conceding. Because, like, this is what happens in this game. This is what happens. But to replace Dean Henderson, a keeper who has let me down week upon week, to replace him with statistically the world's greatest penalty saver, only for Dean Henderson to save a penalty. It's a kick in the teeth. This game does not love me back. It just loves making me FPL's laughing stock. Oh my God, I can't believe the trolls have won. And it just makes you wonder. It makes you wonder what's the point. It makes you wonder what is the point. You know, Ekitike, I've got Ekitike up front. What's he doing? I watched about 10 minutes of Liverpool. He tripped over the ball. That is what I get in this game. I don't even know what to do. I don't even know what to do next week. I'm meant to be on the pubcast. I don't want to go on the pubcast. I'm meant to be on the pubcast on Wednesday, and I'll be there because your man, the Nightmare, shows up. Even when he is down in the dumps, even when the game does not love him back, the Nightmare shows up when he is booked. Unless work calls. But that's by the by. And this game, the recycling is still pissing me off. This game, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. You know, the problem with this game is you're putting so much time, and the abuse is by the by. The mockery is by the by. The 50 messages and comments I've read this week, oh, Nightmare will be in the shed. Yes, I am. I am in the shed, and it's chucking it down now. I haven't even seen a single spider. Even the spiders have abandoned me. Even the spiders have lost faith in me. Just don't know what to do. You know, you put in all this time, you put in all this effort, anything in life. You think about this. You think about, I've probably put 40 hours into the game this week, 40 hours. And I'm in pain, I'm in misery, I am feeling low. And then you put that 40 hours over 38 game weeks. It's just a rough estimate. But let's think about it. How much is that? 40 times 38. You're talking, you know, 1,500 hours, give or take. I could work out 38, 380, 760, 1,520 hours over the course of a season, not including pre-season, but we'll say 1,500 hours. 1,500 hours, I've done 2 years on YouTube. That is 3,000 hours, but then I did 3 years of the books, and I put in a similar amount of time. We'll cut it by 4. We'll just say 4,000 hours. 4,000 hours I have put into this game. Let's say that. just on the creative side of things, just on talking to people. And that's not talking about all the reading, all the pain, all the discussions offline, everything else. We could be talking 6,000, 8,000. I've been playing the game since 2011. We could be talking 10,000 hours. 10,000 hours I have put of my life into this game. And for what? What have I got in return? What has your pal, the Nightmare, got in return for that 10,000 hours? Nothing. They say 10,000 hours. If you put 10,000 hours into something, it leads to mastery. It leads to perfection. Well, I have put 10,000 hours into this game and I am worse than ever and I am more miserable than ever and I don't see what I offer anymore. I don't see what I offer except comedy, except being the laughing stock, the butt of the FPL joke. And I don't know if that's what I want from life. I don't know where I'm going to go. I'm not saying, oh, I'm not coming back. But there's a shelf life. There's a shelf life to this pain when I think I have spent 2 days miserable watching the football, watching the shite football that isn't even entertaining. At that time yesterday, I watched the football. I could have watched the whole season of Game of Thrones. I could have watched the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy, extended editions. And I would have enjoyed it, and I would have taken some spiritual messages from it, and I would have come out of it with hope for the future. And here I am, and I have no hope for the future from this game. I feel trapped. I feel like it's just going to go on and on and on. And for what? To try and be one of the 100,000 best losers? It's just not for me. I'm not sure. You know, I could have put that time into learning how to paint. I could have been putting that time into learning how to draw. I could have been putting it into learning how to code. I could have been figuring out ways to make money, to put a better life for my family. And I'm spending all this time on this game that I'm not even any good at. I am the laughing stock of FPL, and the joke is wearing thin. Thank you for watching. We will see you next time.